bear with brothers for a second.
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Hi, Baruch Shalom, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahakam, Yahweh Shai, the Prince of so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian nations, and Israelite foreigners. Assalamualaikum, Kayaham Alaikum, Mayim Farad, repenting for the king's coming that is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, we're going to give our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahakam, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kadash, while double honor to the elders and apostles, the great wisdom on their tongues of truth, and rule well, and much respect to the thrones of their Christian truth, with all righteousness and institution, Shalom. And so again, another beautiful day to prophesy. We're going to hop into Psalms, the 64th chapter. Psalms chapter 64 and verse 1. Hear my voice, O power, and my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Right? And it says, hear my voice. You know, which the scripture say that, you know, those that essentially are in the correct spirit and are fearing the Lord, the Lord's going to hear their prayers. You know, so that goes into that confidence mentioned in the scripture. Bible chapter, we get Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 35. Because we're supposed to have confidence. When you go into the word for confidence, con is with, all right, confidence goes into fidelity, which is faith, you know, so with faith. You know, so when we pray, we can't pray with, being double-minded. You know, you have to believe that, you know, when we're saying that we're requesting from the Lord, that's also what's going to happen, you know. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35. Cast not away, therefore, your confidence, which have great recompense of reward. Right, so again, you know, to reiterate, we're supposed to have confidence, you know, so when we pray to the Lord, we got to believe, all right, that what we're praying for is going to come to pass, you know. Can I get something real quick? We got it. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 6. It reads, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahweh B'Shem Shai must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. You know? If I could add to it, said that, you understand? Hebrews 11 and 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. Right. So essentially, you know, you wouldn't take a car, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm just going to drive it. You know, you got to have the fuel. So the faith is the fuel that's going to push forth that fear. You know, that's ultimately how we serve the Lord. All right, through the faith. You know, we got an example of that through our forefather Abraham. You know, his faith made him righteous. You know, for he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And you said that diligently seek the Lord. Essentially, to diligently seek the Lord, you know, we got to have faith, we got to have the fear, and we got to believe in the Lord. Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai.
Real quick, brothers, bear with me. This is Hebrews 11 and 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And that's what brothers possess in the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. The whole world doesn't have faith. They can say faith, they have faith, but their actions speak contrary to how they participate in the spirit. I'll jump to this. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. It says, for grace are ye saved through faith, and that not yourselves, it is a gift from Yahweh B'Shem Shai. See, faith is a gift that was only given to the elect of the nation of Israel. Everybody doesn't have faith. So the elect of the nation of Israel is going to have faith in the Lord, man. And that's the evidence of things not seen, man. This is why they sit on the highways and hedges and wonder why we out here. Because we have faith in the Lord that the Lord is going to do things that he has said that was written before time, man. And we're actually seeing these things being manifest here in the spirit in the light of days.
Psalms chapter 64 and verse 1. Hear my voice, O power, and my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Right. So essentially, you know, we have enemies. You know, contrary to, you know, the belief that's pushed out are in America, Babylon, the Greek, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian nations, Israelite foreigners. You know, you have an enemy. All right, and that consists of, you know, Esau, Edom. All right, and these essentially these heathen that's confederate together. You know, pursuant to Psalms the 2nd chapter, Psalms the 83rd chapter. You know. And just to prove that, can we get Genesis 27 verse 41?
This is the book of Genesis chapter 27 verse 41. And it says, Esau hated Jacob because the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of the morning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Right, so Esau has been hating, you know, since the ancient world. You know, but going back to Psalm 83, which we'll get out of our Zag, you know, but he's confederate, all right, with the heathen. You against the tribes, the 12 tribes, all right? Psalm chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O coward. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Bashim Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Right, it says lifted up the head, because essentially they're conducting themselves in great pride. They feel as if, slavery, genocide, things that they have done to the tribe, they feel as if they're not going to be judged for that. Chiefly, Esau, Edom, and again, those the nations that's confederate with Esau,
That's right.
they're essentially in cahoots together. Continuing on, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And going into the Israelites. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but pretty much Esau Edom is a so-called white man. All right, it's 18 nations. All right, and 17 of those is against the tribes of Israel.
It's got the whole world going into slavery. I got something for you real quick. You have something? Yeah. Hey, Bree says speak up. Okay, I got you. Here we go. This is Jeremiah. All right. Let's back up what I said. Jeremiah 30 and in 16 it says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. And all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. All right, so that's all the nations. It says, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So payback is coming. All right, Revelation 13, 9 and 10. Here's the patience and faith of the saints. Right, so as you were bringing out Psalms 83, all right, all these nations were confederate against the Israelites, and the Lord hasn't forgot that. All right, Ecclesiastes 3 and 15, the Lord requires which has passed. You see what I'm saying? So at the end all be all in the kingdom of heaven, the world is going to bow under the Israelites, man. It is what it is. It's just true, right?
Psalm chapter 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's essentially been their plan, because to the understanding of the Eden, they have seen, at different points in time in history, pursuant to Jude the 5th chapter, if they was able to keep us in a constant, perpetual state of sin, they could essentially keep themselves at the top. You see, but that's not how it's going to go forever. The Lord is essentially about to judge the heathen. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. One consent, again, going to essentially together. They're all in this together, even though they push that, they're against each other, they're together. Yeah. They are confederate against thee.
Yeah, a prime example of that, this whole New World Order. Everybody's on board. All nations are down with the digital footprint, if you will. You see what I'm saying? It was about 96% of the nations, they're all on board for the MOTB system. Right? Basically all of
I got one verse.
Yep.
Psalms chapter 62, verse 4. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. Again, going to that crafty counsel, right? The intent and purpose of all of these 17 nations taking confederacy is against the tribes of Israel, which ultimately is against the ways of Yahweh Bashim Shai. You see? So they're ultimately conspiring to this very day, right, with their agendas and their plans of action to come against the ways of the Lord.
So, yeah, this is why you're seeing they're on the talks of what AI, getting out of control and things like that. Because they want to have a excuse to shut this shit down. Because when I say shut it down, that means it's gonna be a global affair, just like it took place in 2020. Because in 2020 that was a global event, right? When everybody was shut down and everybody was in one cahoots on that same scenario, man. And this is the same thing you're seeing taking place again, because when they shut the world down, who was their main focus on? The tribes. Yep. Their focus is on the tribes, so it's going to be on the tribes again. Yeah, remember, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans got to get the juice first. Remember they kept pushing that? Yep. There's always been an attack on you Israelites. Can I get Psalm 60 chapter real quick? Not pass it.
If I can add back on that point, yep. We understand that there's going to be another endemic, right? But as the brothers were speaking about how the target ultimately was you tribes. Now we understand that the endemic that they're also discussing is the endemic of cyber attacks, yep. Right? The infrastructure being hit,
we understand who they're going to use as the main primary target with enacting these changes, right? To come against your sense of quote unquote normality. It's going to be your tribes, man. You're the ones that are most disenfranchised. You don't have infrastructure in your communities. You don't have access to resources. You live in food deserts, right? So when these cyber attacks and these civil infrastructures start to get hit more, like Klaus Schwab talked about as another potential demic, you tribes is going to get hit hard.
Right. I got that right here. This is Psalms chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage?
Yeah, why do the heathen rage? Right? And we see it now. Because all the nations are fighting for global dominance. Russia, China, you know, Iran, North Korea, whatever. Okay? Go ahead.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
And imagine a vain thing, because at the end of the day, this is the last rulership of the heathen, as we talked about last night. Okay? The Edomite, as it tells us in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, the Esau would be the end of the world. All right? So this is it for the heathen ruling. Okay? So they're imagining a vain thing, man. Yahweh Shai is coming to destroy this world. He's coming to set up his kingdom. When you read Isaiah 9, verses 5 on down, because after Isaiah, after he saw the war that contained with fuel and fire, right after that, it goes into the kingdom of heaven. When Yahweh Shai brings the rulership, and it says that the kingdom should be upon it, the government should be upon his shoulders to establish the throne of David. Right after that. You see? Go ahead, on.
The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together.
See, going back to Psalms 83. This links up with the brother was saying. The rulers, the kings of this earth, they take counsel together to what?
Against the Lord and against his anointed.
See that? Against the Lord and against his anointed, man. Because, hey, these devils, all these nations eventually knew that, according to prophecy, that the house of David would be arisen again in the last days. That's why Revelation 11, and what 11 tells you that great fear fell upon them with Sodom. All right, so these nations, Esau and these nations always knew that this day that we live in now, the awakening of Israel will come. Go ahead.
Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
The Esau did that. The Esau and the nations did that. Can I hold Lamentations 2 and 15?
Like it a lot.
Read that again, Arch.
Psalms 2 and 3. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Yeah, so this is what Esau did. All right, they divided the tribes. They split them up. All right, they gave us those bywords and proverbs. Okay, those derogatory names. All right, they removed our heritage from us. All right, they beat the language out of us. All right, so as a nation, we were put in total disarray. Right, Jeremiah was the 17th. Thou shalt discontinue from thy heritage. Okay, so being discontinued from your heritage, meaning what? You will be removed from your nationality, who you really are. So in the end time said that what? We will eventually come back. And the fact that this is happening, this is a stumbling block to our enemies. That's why these damn heathen, these Edomites and the rest of these heathen, they look at us like, what the hell are we doing? Right, but we're actually fulfilling what's written in prophecy, man. You got it, brother. Yeah, get that real quick.
Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 15.
That's right.
All that pass by clap their hands at thee.
Yeah, even now. When people pass by us and they pass by the camps, and, you know, they sneer, they talk shit under their breath, right? Damn niggas, you know? Go ahead.
Continuing on, they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty?
Exactly. This is the chosen people. This is God's people. Yeah. Right? Go ahead.
Black culture, right?
Yeah.
Look at black culture. Black culture is a fucking laughing stock.
Yeah.
So that's when they make the mockery and they laugh because Jacob's in that state of following.
Yeah.
So they have every right to do that. But look at our people, man. Far gone from our hey, John didn't know who the hell he was looking at. You know, John the Revelator, right. He didn't know who the hell that was, man. Red hair, pink hair, shit.
But this is all by their hand, that crafty counsel.
Yeah.
It says, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth.
They hiss and gnash the teeth. Same thing today. All right, we're a mockery to the world. The scripture said in the Philippians that we're the offspring of this world to this very day.
And this is why there's always a damn, let's debunk the Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah.
Because there ain't no way Ain't no way these niggas is. Ain't no way they the Lord's people. I'm talking about the niggas and spits. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
That's how that's Bible prophecy right there, man.
Yeah.
That's why they, like the elder said, they laugh, they look at us as a bunch of fools. They don't believe that we the Lord's people, man. And you gotta really look at our state of our people as a whole, man. Low key, you kind of like, damn, yeah, I mean, look at them, man.
Yeah.
Shit. Ain't no way, boy.
Continuing on verse 16, it says, they hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up.
Yep.
Certainly this is the day that we look for.
And they did that. Transatlantic slave trade, trans-Saharan slave trade, the Dutch slave trade, the Native American slave trade. All right, they did that. Okay, when you go back to the slave trade, it was world business. Amalek, funding the slavery. You got Ishmael that built the ships. Then you had Ham, the indigenous Africans that rounded us up.
The scriptures say Jake is swallowed up by the heat on every side.
Yeah.
That was the feeling of Jake being in a Gentile state of mind.
There you go.
Being discontinued from their heritage.
Right. So these nations not gonna pay for that? Give me more. Give me a little bit more.
It says, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for.
Yeah, this is the day that they look for, man. Remember, they celebrated, the nations celebrated our downfall, man. Okay? Because remember, when King David was in authority, the nations were under his feet, man. That's why King David and Solomon had what? 40 years of peace. Right?
Yeah. King David, he had 40. Brad slain him, put him down, and then the kingdom was trans. I can't even talk. So it was given to Solomon. He really had the 40 years of peace.
Exactly. And after Solomon, what happened? The king was split.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Go ahead, Doc.
We have seen it. Verse 17, Yahweh hath done that which he had devised.
Yep.
He hath fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pity. And he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee.
So the fact that we're in this situation is all divine. It's of the Lord. All right? It wasn't off the strength of the heathen. Even though the Lord, allowed that to happen, right? But it's all part of prophecy. We disobeyed, we rebelled against the Lord. He allowed our enemies to conquer us. Right? Simple as that.
And that's really the most sensible reasoning when you really sit down and think about it, because I remember being a kid and looking into Nat Turner, reading about slave rebellions, reading about the strength that these slaves, the resilience that they had, even up to the time of now. He's like, damn, how the fuck is it that these niggas was able to do it? These niggas?
Basis of men.
Basis of men? The Testament people was able to overcome my people. No fucking way. But what it goes back to, like you said, Zaquan, it was divine.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that they would have been able to accomplish this on their own merit.
Yeah. It was plenty of rebellions and battles with Judah, Gad, Reuben against Esau that don't really get talked about. You see what I'm saying? Levi, yeah. You see what I'm saying? But it was the Lord's will for us to go down. See that? Any more? Come.
And he hath caused thy enemy to rejoice over thee.
See? He hath caused thy enemy to rejoice over thee. This is the day we look for. We found it. We got their ass,
They sent the postcards back and forth. Jake being
We was the gifts.
We was the gifts. That's why the prophet said we would be, man.
He hath set up the horn of thine adversary.
Yeah, he set up the power. All right? Our enemies are the ones that's in power. Started with the head enemy, Esau. Amalek. Chief house of Esau, man. So again, going back to the fact that all these nations came together in agreement and conspired against the nation of Israel, and the Lord is getting ready to bring the payback. All right? Retribution is divine, man. Right? What was on Lamentations? What was that? Jeremiah? Let's do that real quick.
God says, Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave you.
Yeah, and it was heavy. Like we brought out the history going back to the port of Judah on the west coast of Africa before they put us on those slave ships. We had the tree of forgetfulness, right? We Esau, with Ham and them nations was doing those spells, those rituals to get us to fall away from our heritage, man. Even more. Go ahead.
And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Right. So we're a living testimony, man. We're actually living prophecy, man. That we would fall under the hands of our enemies, and we would be brought to a land that we knew not of. This is why we're over here in the Americas, man. Right? You got it. I need more. That was it. There's some more? Okay, come.
Jeremiah 17 and verse 5. It says, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord.
That's what happened with our people, man. That's why we fell away as a nation. We started putting our trust in the heathen. Start putting our trust in them false gods, man, and the idols. And what happened, man? That was a curse unto us, man. And the Lord put them curses on our ass, and now look at us today, man. And that's a living testimony when you see Jake still putting their trust in his goddamn system, man. Still putting their trust in the system when it's going hand in hand, and look what's going to happen, man. The Lord has a special judgment for us, man. Not us, just saying as a nation, man. Good Lord.
Verse 6. For he shall be like the heat in the desert, and shall not see when the good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness. Psalm chapter 64, verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Psalm chapter 64, verse 1. Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. I'm going to get the word Psalm chapter 64, verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And that word for, it was the workers of iniquity. Let me get that word for workers. Right, it says,
yeah, this is what the Lord is doing, right, in these times. Right, the Lord is making us privy to the workers of iniquity, right, because it was at one point a mystery. You know, we weren't identifying the direct problem in the earth that was affecting us, right, which is these Edomites, right? The counsels, the purposes, and the intent of society as we know it being set up in a way to where we were staying a perpetual defense to our Lord.
Man.
I got that word for the word for secret counsel, and it says counsel, assembly, counsel of familiar conversation. It says divine circle of familiar friends. That pretty much goes into again the nation you see, but then also amongst Esau, you got different groups like the Rosicrucians, you got the Masons, and different things as such, which they essentially are counseling together to see how they can keep us in slavery. When they put not slavery, pretty much keep us down when we get slavery good. Right. They push, Isaiah 10 and 1, those unrighteous decrees. Can we get that? Isaiah 10 and 1, and also Psalms 2.
Because also with that too, you have our own people that are involved in it, right? Yeah. The Divine Nine, different groups, that are trying to pretty much forward the hand of evildoers, as the scripture says. Yeah. They're in cahoots, and they're just as big, if not bigger, a problem. Because it's one thing to know your enemy, but to also then side with them for your own ill gain, you are a big seller.
What's that scripture? Strengthen the hand of the evildoer?
Yeah,
grab that real quick.
Yeah, Jeremiah says, among my people are found wicked men.
Yeah. It's Isaiah chapter 10.
Psalm chapter 2 verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
That vain thing, ultimately thinking that they're going to rule forever.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord.
Right, these different G7 summits, these different Bilderberg meetings, the Davos meetings. That essentially represents to where the heathen are counseling together. The different leadership of the heathen, essentially again, counseling. They're taking counsel
Against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vexed him in his sore displeasure.
Right, pursuant to Ecclesiastes 3:15, the Lord requires that which is past. And when you go into the word for require, it goes to inquisition, right, to make a righteous inquisition and then to search out the counsels of the ungodly. You see, but then again, the Lord requires that which is past. So essentially, the heathen are going to be judged for that. So I'm going to get this. It said that the Lord will speak unto them in his sore displeasure. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13, and we'll get verse 10. It says, "But only I saw that he sent out his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest," which is essentially going on concurrently, with the nukes. You see, but then also the chariots is going to be zapping, the heathen, all right, in 2/3. That's the Lord speaking to the heathen in his sore displeasure,
I got that preset call for time. This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 14. "I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an evil thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hand of evildoers, that none doth return from his
Hey,
wickedness."
going back to those damn the black roulette, right? Which are pretty much the gatekeepers for our people, man. Keep our people underneath the hand of Esau, man. Pretty much Esau's lapdog and shit, man. Because a lot of, like you said, what's it called, the Divine Nine and all of that, those fraternities and all of that. They're all that whole conglomerate, that fraternal order, if you will. All right, it's a bunch of sellouts, man.
And
Right.
it spans past, because most people, when they think about it, within the tribe, they always put at the forefront Judah. But you also have the Northern Kingdom as well. They also have fraternities and sororities, right? So across the board, Jake is continually forward in the hands of the evildoers, right? It's not just a one tribe thing, it's the whole nation. You have sellouts within the nation.
Sure.
This is you in Isaiah 10? I read Isaiah 10.
Well, we can get that after.
Back in the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and starting at verse 3, "Who whet their tongue like a sword."
Right, and it's a similitude being made here because if you was to sharpen a sword, you don't use it to put it up on the shelf for it to look good. Or you sharpen the sword to actually use it. So it said who wet their tongue. When you wet something, you're sharpening it. Who wet their tongue like a sword. Essentially that wetting the tongue essentially goes into the laws, the regulations, the legislations. Essentially that sword is pointed at Jake.
Right. And you think about it like whenever a blacksmith works on a sword to sharpen it, they have to put that water over it when they sharpen it. So like you said, the regulations, the laws, the decrees, he's continually at work.
Right.
That nigga working non-stop around the clock. Yep. It's in their power.
That's it. You get the Isaiah 10 and 1.
Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees."
Right, it said, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees." All right, woe means destruction, misery. The destruction and misery to those that write the unrighteous decrees. And decree is something mandated. So they pretty much came up with this mandate themselves. All right, it wasn't divine in nature.
"And that right grievousness which they have prescribed."
Right, that right grievousness which they have prescribed. You see, all these laws and the different social constructs that's set up, all of that's set up against the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans.
They're the ones that are prescribing it. The problems that exist in your community, they're the ones that prescribe these grievous laws and legislations, right? And these decrees to really further your oppression, right? So that you don't turn from wickedness. So that you continually strengthen the hand of the evildoers. Because again, brothers have referenced the book of Tobit, or excuse me, not Tobit, Judith, right? How the heathen are understanding of the fact that their power is synonymous with our reluctance to serve the Lord in truth and sincerity. So they do everything within their power to try and forward that wickedness into the minds of our people.
It's about breaking the connection.
Yeah.
Psalm 62 and 4, right? They only consult to cast them down from his excellency. It's all about disconnecting these people on this sign from their power. So by that happening, they can continue to reign over us. It's all spiritual. They know that. Right? That's why, hey, when you go back to the times of the temple, Nebuchadnezzar, first temple, then you had the sack of the second temple, 70 AD. the heathens knew that, our connection to the temple, to the Most High. That's why it was always about disconnecting us from the Lord.
Right.
And
that's why they were trying to disrupt the building of the second temple. It was like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah. Because they wrote the letter to Xerxes, right? Saying if you let these, matter of fact, get that real quick.
Ezra?
Yeah, Ezra. Yep. Where they said you let these people build, they're gonna cause much trouble and all that. Yep. Ezra, the 4th chapter. That's why they're trying to hinder the building now. It's all spiritual. That's why they're trying to hinder the word. They're trying to stop the videos. All right, they're trying to demonize us, whatever they can to put that what's the word I'm looking for? Put that stain on the ministry, so to speak. Right. That stigma. Yeah. So it's all spiritual. Ezra the 4th, you can start at the top and read down. Just to make the point real quick.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard the children of the captivity building the temple unto Yahweh, power of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you.
So you gotta understand the context. You had a remnant of Judah, all right, the southern kingdom, that came out of Babylonian captivity, all right, that were set up to build the temple, all right. Go ahead.
Let us build, verse 2. Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you. For we seek your power as ye do. And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of...
Because you got, at the time, if you go back to 2 Kings 17, when the northern kingdom were removed out of Samaria, you had implants put in the land. All right, you had heathens put in the land. Right? So these heathens actually thought that they had a connection with our power, that they were actual Israelites. Right? Go ahead.
But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our power. But we ourselves together will build unto Yahweh power of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us.
Yeah, because King Cyrus gave the decree to rebuild the temple again. Right? And it's the same thing now. You have these Christians that try to say, look, we want to build with y'all. How come we can't come together? It's not going to happen. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
See, it's all spiritual, just like they did back then. They tried to trouble them for rebuilding the temple. Right? Jump to verse 11.
Verse 11. This is the copy that they sent unto him, even Xerxes the king. Thy servants, the men of this side the river, and at such a time.
Yep.
Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious in the bad city.
See, building the rebellious and bad city, and it's the same thing with us. Because now, the city now, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Right. So it's that same stigma.
Right, went from an ally to an enemy, just like that. Continuing on, verse 13, verse 12 in the latter, building the rebellious in the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof, enjoying the foundations.
Right, now check this out, read verse 13.
Verse 13, be it known unto the king that if this city be builded and the walls set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom.
They're not going to pay toll, they're not going to pay tribute or custom, they're going to rebel. This is why they wrote the letter to Xerxes, like, don't let them do this. Don't let them rebuild. Go ahead.
And so thou shalt endamage the revenue of the kings.
Keep going.
Now because we had maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we sent and certified the king.
Keep going.
That search may be made in the book of the records of thy fathers. So shalt thou find in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city.
Know that this city is a rebellious city. Go ahead.
And hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition within the same of old time. For which cause was this city destroyed?
Right. So they were basically pleading with him, like, don't let them do this, because these heathen, they understand what happens when we're in our right mind, when we're connected back to our power. Right? That's why these devils are fighting tooth and nail to keep our people disenchanted. That's why you see all these videos coming about the Hebrew Israelites, how it's cult, it's this, it's that. You know, they don't know what they're talking about. It's a hate group, you know, to put that stigma upon us, man. Yeah, it's hey, things are no different from back then and now. Okay? That's the point.
Is that, like you said, it's no different now, and it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
This is the definition of defamation. It says the act of defaming, calumny, slander, or libel, in law of the injuring of a person's good name or reputation.
Yep.
It says the act of defaming, especially unjustified injury to another's reputation, a false accusation of an offense, or a malicious misrepresentation of someone's words or actions.
There you go.
And that's what they're doing. You know, when they were told, no, you can't build with us, instead of just hearing them and accepting it, they took up arms, went all the way to Xerxes and said, nah, these people right here, they bad news. But you just wanted to associate yourself with them a few seconds ago.
Exactly.
You know? But that's the times that we're coming into, where there's going to be defamation because the heathen can't partake in what we're doing. Man.
Yeah, they're not part of the covenant. You know?
This is back in the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and verse 3. Who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
Right, and they got a book out, it's called Silent Weapons for Secret Wars. All right, and essentially those silent weapons go into the different situations that Esau puts in front of our people. You know, whether that be, you know, the food he puts into the communities, all right, the entertainment, you know, the music, the drugs, you know, weapons, stuff like that. You know, all of that is essentially set there, all right, because it's weaponized against our people. You know, ultimately going into how the weapons are shot. You want to read again?
Man, that's the spirit. Shoot out.
Oh, that thing spiritual. It's born on Jake.
Verse 3. Who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
Right, even bitter words.
Psalm chapter 73. Psalm 73 and 9. They set their mouth against the heavens.
Right, because we got what Psalms, the second chapter, all right, essentially speaking against the Lord, the wicked, and speaking against the Lord, all right, and also against the anointed, who is the Israelites, you know.
They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walking through the earth.
Right, their tongue walking through the earth, you know. If your tongue walks through the earth, it's according to how what they're thinking, with their
mindset.
Yeah, his mindset, his enterprises. That's essentially what he's able to push forth on the rest of the people, you know.
All his policies.
You also get Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 4. Because everybody are outside of the elect is following the policies and the enterprises of this devil, you know.
Yeah, the whole world is under the vibration and mindset of the Edomite. See? This is why he has to be uprooted out of the earth. All right? Because his way of thinking is not aligned in righteousness. This is why the earth is destroyed. This is why the people are polluted. This is why the land is defiled. Right? Because you have the unwise king that's ruling. The unwise king destroyed his people, man. When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. You see, this is why he got to go.
It's Psalm 37 and 35. I've seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree.
Right, and pretty much the scriptures, they say, you know, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases.
Yep.
You see, because, you know, the scriptures say, Malachi 1 and 4, you know, the border of wickedness.
Yep.
You know, so wherever they living at, you know, it's going to be wicked there, you know. Yep. And not only that, you know, they're going to push forth their lifestyle. You know, hey, do this, do that, and the whole time they go back to something unrighteous, you know.
What the trees do, they spread their roots right underneath the ground and then that covering right over the top, man. Right, so they have all bases covered, you know, with wickedness. That's why there's no healing of that.
this society is not going to be worth even trying to repair, because this is the fruit that's came out of it.
Yeah.
It's no way that you can, like, you have talks about the systemic oppression and how deeply woven the hands are in this system. You can't uproot that problem outside of just destroying the thing.
Yeah.
You just gotta destroy it. You're not gonna uproot that nigga.
Yeah.
His hands is too deeply woven.
Go back to
2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High.
right. How does he do this? You know, it's essentially Esau understands that the land Sabbath and essentially how everything's supposed to be ran. You see, but his role in this movie is to be opposite. That's essentially what he does. He's a damn good devil.
Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High.
Right. He shows that he shows himself to be a proverbial power. You see, by essentially ordering everybody to do what he wants.
Yeah.
Isaiah 10:1. The previous list was they have prescribed.
Yeah, he does that. He does that through his science and technology. That's how he's able to elevate himself as a god. Because this power that he was blessed with on the left hand side, it's deluded his mind. Should we how is it Obadiah? The pride of thy heart have deceived you, man. So this man, he's under a strict delusion to the point where he actually thinks that he's God and he's getting ready to take down the true power, man. He's full of himself, man. But hey, like Romans, give me that Romans 9 and I raised up Pharaoh.
This is the book of Romans chapter 9 and verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up.
Yeah, see, so the modern day Pharaoh is the Edomite. So this very same purpose, the Lord raised Esau up. Go ahead.
That I might show my power in thee.
Right, because when he takes him down, the world's gonna know who the true power is, man. So he elevated him with the sword. That was his blessing, going back to Genesis, the 25th chapter. Right? His blessing was the sword. The sword entails this technology, this AI, his science, all right, his nuclear weaponry, all right, his army, his ability to control the world's resources, the money, the food supply. You see? But he was given this power just so the Lord could show the world who's the real power, man. When he takes him down, it was the same thing with Pharaoh in ancient Egypt. See, he hardened the Pharaoh's heart just so the Lord could to show who's really the boss. Who's really the king. Any more?
That I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Yeah, so that the name of Yahweh Shai will be declared throughout the earth. Because, hey, once Babylon is taken down, the Lord's reputation is going to skyrocket, man. Right. The whole planet is going to know that the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was behind this, man. Right?
Fathership, nukes getting shot off at the same time, men, women, and children, the elect being delivered.
Yep.
Who did this? Who did
It's going to go down in history.
That's the scripture.
Yeah. Jeremiah 16, right?
There might be some type of doubt that people will be able to have. So he has to get after the most magnificent way possible, right? To prove that there's only one power that can do this.
Come on, man. It's the ultimate Jake you're dealing with, man. Yahweh Shai, man. He's going to come and invade this world in style, man. All right? Isaiah 19 tells you that first verse. He's going to come and he's going to invade Egypt in that fathership, man. It said every idol shall melt, man. People going to give up the spirit on the sight of Yahweh Shai coming on the scene, man. You got it,
Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 14.
There you go.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right, because what's coming is going to overshadow what happened in ancient Egypt.
Right.
That's what's going to be talked about for the rest of eternity, man.
To this day, niggas still be over in Egypt doing fucking excavations, looking at the land, tours and things like that. you know, trying to figure out the history of that time, you know, the miracles that had happened, you know.
Egypt is still looked at as a wonder of the world. If you got like that, the ancient wonder of the world, the pyramids and the Sphinx, that's the ancient wonder. So Babylon, when this shit's destroyed, ain't gonna be no remembrance system, bro.
Only remembrance is going to be the deliverance.
The deliverance. And then on top of that, the Exodus from here is gonna eclipse the one from over there. Well, it's gonna be a new high holy day, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Verse 15. But Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them.
Yeah, the land of the north, North America, man. This deliverance that's coming, this second Exodus, is what's going to be talked about forever. Go ahead.
And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
That's the point. No?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and verse 4. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him, and fear not.
You get Psalms 37 and 14. But it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. And which it says secret, you see, because ultimately they don't come out and say, hey, this is their plans. Essentially, it's shown by way of, their laws. All right, pretty much harping on their laws. Pretty much they put it into their laws. They put it into the businesses. They put it into their jobs. All right, and various different sectors of life, you see, but essentially that's them shooting in secret at the perfect being the Israelites.
Man, you got out in Atlanta, basically what they were doing in fucking the DeKalb County, they weren't charging the residents in that area for water for like months, years, and then what they did was they did a backdoor deal. They went to the city, said, look, all these people that live in this area have not paid water. So now, what they're trying to do is take the homes from these people and say, look, you ain't never pay your water bill.
Talking about Flint.
DeKalb County, Flint, in Atlanta.
Okay, yeah, Flint like that too. But I want to add on to what you were saying because not only is it with the laws, it's with the culture that they're giving Jake. That's how they secretly shoot the forward because they gave Jake a whole belief system that's predicated upon them killing themselves.
Exactly.
You know?
Self-destruction.
Yeah, everything that our people embrace as a culture is to your destruction, and you don't even realize it. It's embroidered in death and outer worship.
I'm land back on your point. Pretty much going to the nigga culture, Mexican culture, Haitian culture. All of these things was created essentially to destroy our people.
Yeah.
So Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Right, no matter where Jake is in the world, essentially Jake is a proverb, Jake is an astonishment, a byword. That word proverb or byword goes into a sharp saying. Nigga, spick, wetbacks, all of those things essentially have a stigma tied to them. You see, but then also it has a culture that's tied to it too, which is essentially responsible for the destruction of our people.
Yeah, that culture has a spirit that's tied to it. Yeah, it's demonic, man.
You look at the different things that Jake called themselves and they do. Like you said, they have a spirit, attached to it. Like we were talking about this last week. I'm gonna get some research. Like that manly spirit dealing with the black woman. Go back to slavery. You got the big fat dead woman. That's a demon. That's pretty much that's manifested itself back today. This is why you see a lot of Eve's fat. But that's that spirit still on there because when you look into it, that manly spirit was pretty much that false spirit, that the independent woman. That's the same thing that's being put back in the now.
How she controls the man, she's over the man. That's all. It's all the spirit that goes back to pretty much the man-like spirit.
Exactly. Just like the prophet Muhammad said, that goes even with the hyenas. That's the spirit that they call. He was calling the black woman that, but that's the spirit of a hyena, man, ruling over the man. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you got the men who is naturally bred to be subservient, walking around with his head down, being ruled over by everybody. No, what's that word? Preeminence of himself. Which goes back to slavery as well, because if you look into it, that's the Willie Lynch letter. All right, but Willie Whisper is essentially what the brother was talking about, them secretly shooting at the floor, because you don't realize that that's still being implemented today. Same practice that you see putting the man against the woman, putting the light skins against the dark skins, putting the youth against the elderly. All these things were tactics that Willie Lynch put in place, all right, that's still being pushed today.
Psalm chapter 64, verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
We read this in David Boone's biblical commentary. It reads, suddenly they shoot at him and do not fear. David knew that his enemies fired their bitter words as arrows against him. And when they did, it didn't bother them in the least. They did not fear either David or the Most High. It says Psalm 64 emphasizes the devious nature of David's enemies. They use secret plots. They shoot in secret. They attack suddenly, especially because David mentions an attack by arrows from a hidden or secret position. These enemies act like the ancient version of snipers. So this is what we're seeing take place with Jacob, right? They're being spiritually, right? Because these things aren't happening by accident, man. They're direct attacks, right, at their communities, man. Right? So it's like they're being sniped at and taken away one by one, right? It says the key word in Psalm 64 is suddenly, meaning unexpectedly or without warning. David knew how dangerous it was in battle if a hidden archer worked as a sniper. If he could see and confront his enemy one-on-one, a warrior such as David liked his chances. But the hidden sniper was of great concern to be put down by an arrow he never saw coming. This is what Jacob's happening. They're getting hit with arrows that they can't see coming. That's why Esau has to move subtly as that serpent, man. Because when he works in the background, he knows he has even greater chances of taking people out, man.
Yeah. Keep feeding them that gang shit. All right, keep feeding them that rap, that black shit. Keep the single parent homes going. Keep the black woman in power.
The diet.
Yeah, keep their diet fucked up so they can't think.
Yeah, the disguise of genetic disorders.
Right. Yeah, you know.
No, slavery pretty much they would, if they didn't have a use for Jake, essentially when they was done with him, they hit him over the head and then he'd be dead. But nowadays it's hidden in secret, because essentially it's like a slow kill. They put it into the food. It's a McDonald's on every street corner. Then you got the Chinese food place right beside every food line, right by the hood.
It's a slow bleed. Because, like you said, back then they would have no more use for you. They would just kill you. But now Esau wants to bleed you to the last drop, because every little bit of use of you can make money for him. This is why you see Esau doing everything, whether it's the people, the land. If you notice, you never see any open fields like that no more, man. Because every time Esau sees something, that's an opportunity for him to build a parking deck or a mall or some type of shit. He the way he thinks is some way we got to make money off of something. Capitalism, right.
It says, David's enemies didn't use literal arrows, but they attacked him secretly, anonymously, without the courage to say things to his face. They shot at him like a sniper shoots a man who has no way to defend himself. They know that Jake's power, Jake's defense, had been removed, man. So now they shoot at you from afar, bro. They shoot at you from afar, knowing that if they came up to you and told you these things were designed for your destruction, you'd be able to offset it in some way or form, man. Right? But instead, they do this to make you think that it's just a part of your culture. It's a part of your belief system, right?
Perfect example of that. You have what they call it says the secret Edomite covenant or the Masonic creed. And when you read into this, there was a leaked document that came out on June 21st, 2002 on a major financial portal, MakeIndex.com, by anonymous source. It reveals the secret plans of the secret occult elite, which the Bible refers to as the wicked. So it says, an illusion will be so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who see it will be thought as the same. We will create a separate front to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we were not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time, as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur, because this secret war that they declared on Jake has gone so vast to where it's pretty much went to the whole world, to where their own people and the heathen are suffering from this as well. It says, we will always stand above the relative field of their experience, and we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always and remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite.
Yep.
We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what's coming.
That's why Scripture says never trust thy enemy.
That's right. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, and also in the air. They will be blanketed and poisoned everywhere they turn. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive system. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information.
No, I was gonna say that's just spot on. You know, especially you consider when that was written in 2002.
This is when they
Or that's
found
when
it.
they found it in 2002. But the advancements of then 2002 to now, food has gotten worse, the air quality has gotten worse, the water has gotten worse, everything is just gotten worse.
Yeah, because when you look at it, this is showing you these are sons of Satan, because like it's talking about the spraying of the poison. They spray barium oxide and aluminum in the air. That's the main two properties in the chemtrails. If you look on the periodic table, barium oxide and aluminum spell out for all. So that shows you that this is Satan in the flesh that's working on the people right now. We can get real quick, Revelation 64, so we keep scripture going. I'm going to read this. This man is as death, man.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there was sent out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
This is the Edomite, all right? That red horse, man, that was given the task of taking peace from the earth, man. This is why everything this man does, it brings death and disorder to the earth, man. That's why he's known as one of his titles as the sons of perdition.
And that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword.
Right, and that great sword he has been waging on the earth, waging war with on the earth since him coming into power, going all the way back to the Greeks, the Romans, until now. All right? So continuing on, it says, the poison will be hidden everywhere that surrounds them, and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poison for they can, as far as they can see. We will teach them that the poisons are good with fun images of beautiful tones. Those they will look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poison. We will see our products being used in film, and will grow accustomed to them, and they will never know their true effect, which is why the brothers mentioned things like the McDonald's, these different commercials. And what they do, they get Jacob promoted. You know, you see LeBron James with the Sprite commercial. They got the Reese's Puff, Angel Reese, and our people are all promoting the poison.
Yeah, have a nigga eating a bacon sandwich.
Yeah. Commercials.
You know what I'm saying? First nigga eating real actors and shit. You know what I'm saying? What you do for that juice commercial? Oh, back that thing up? Yeah.
Juvenile.
Yeah.
Him, and you have, others, you know.
But that's Esau. He's a master marketer. Esau understands marketing so much down to the level of color.
That's been in music marketing is just a style of marketing.
Yeah, because like you said, with the color, bro, it's like when you go into, different stores, you see the red and yellow, the green, the blue, those do something to your spirit. I think red and yellow makes you hungry.
Yeah.
You know, just using that as an example.
McDonald's, Taco Bell,
Yeah.
all the Bojangles. Yeah. The scripture said that Esau is wiser than Daniel. You know what I'm saying? So this man, they search out, they study things, This is what he does. All to manipulate the mind of the other tribes. He goes to depth of doing all these stories underneath it. Right?
And it's a lot, so I'm not going to read all of it, but just showing you this is the mind of the devil as the brother going into Psalm 64. His heart is deep because he has figured out how to do all this and make it to where you bring it to yourself. Because our people will literally fight you to stay dying.
They'll fight you up a bit, man.
Yeah, you tell a motherfucker, yeah, bro, you shouldn't drink cow milk. I had a damn fat nigga woman get mad at me for telling her that, yo, we ain't supposed to drink cow milk. What's wrong with you, bro? Like, this shit is crazy.
You seen niggas over that damn Popeye too?
You got it, bro. We can drop that. We can get, could you run Psalm 64? That's what yeah, we drop that. Psalm 64 and 4 again.
Psalms chapter 64 and verse 4. They that may shoot in secret, pardon me, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
Right, and which we got various different examples of that, of how Esau essentially shoots in secret, at the perfect, Yep. And which if I can mention too, you said shooting secret, the brother Corner Walk got that example of, sniping. Well, in order to, essentially snipe or to shoot from far away, you gotta observe. You gotta observe, your whatever your target is. So ultimately Esau understands, who he's looking at. He understands that he has, the children of Israel, in captivity. That's why he sets up everything the way he does.
It says, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
Right? Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. And they ultimately don't. They don't feel as if the Lord is going to hold them accountable.
Psalm 50 verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes.
Right, essentially the Lord is setting the elect in order. All right, then I want to get this in the NLT. Psalms 50 and 21 NLT, it says, while you did all this, I remained silent, and you thought I didn't care. But now I will rebuke you, listing all my charges against you. Hey, so Esau is in the courtroom right now, and he's getting all his charges listed off. He didn't poison the sea, he didn't poison the air, the food, mess up, destroyed the world, mess up the people's minds.
To testify this. Two witnesses see everything he's been doing since the inception of Babylon and Berkeley. We have a record of everything, man. We have your actions according to Bible prophecy, what you're doing in the last days, that lines up with you being a biblical witness.
Yeah, let's talk about the imposition, right? The imposition against the ungodly.
Yeah.
For the hurtful works, roughly paraphrasing.
Yeah. Look at the earth, man. Look at the state of the people. Look at the state of the earth, man. Everything's dying under his rulership. This is why the Lord is gradually getting him out the way. Because the Edomite ruler, he'll destroy himself, which he's about to do anyway.
Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 6. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. Right, so you have the 2 witnesses, the northern and the southern kingdom. You also have 2. That 3rd witness is the troopers, right, that are coming out with all of these different reports, insider, whistleblowers, right, that are just coming out and speaking out against the inner workings of this man's system, right? The things that he's done in secrecy, right?
Which is lining up with the brother we get into that Psalm 64. If you are bringing out verse 8 out, brother,
Isaiah 26 and 9. With my soul have I desired thee tonight. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
Right, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. And true righteousness is in equity and balance. Pursuant to Proverbs 11 and 1, a false balance is abomination. But when we see this planet Earth, everything's supposed to be ran in a perfect balance by Esau taking out the pigs and the crabs, lobsters, and stuff like that. He's throwing everything out of balance, So ultimately, the Earth is going to learn righteousness. All right, but right now, it's not being ran in righteousness,
Psalm 52 and 5, right?
The scriptures say, pretty much pursuant to the wicked, if you teach the wicked, righteousness, some of that effect, I can't remember what scripture it is. Yeah, well, you not learn righteousness, something like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness.
Right.
In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly.
Right. Okay.
And will not behold the majesty of the Lord.
Right, so even if you used to show Esau the correct way to do it, he's not going to do it that way. The way he was made in this movie is to be the wicked. That's just what he's going to be.
It was shown a way
in the time of Cain and Abel. He knew the right way, man. But his spirit was contrary to the right way. The Lord made him not. He didn't make Esau right. These elites, they can end world hunger.
Yeah.
They can they can clean up the earth if they wanted to. You know?
They can make it to where nobody's poor. They have all the wealth in the world, but all the world's problems, they cause them. They have the means to end it. I got a precept for you to add to that point. This is Ecclesiastes 1:15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I'm sorry, not numbered. 7:13. Ecclesiastes 7:13. Consider the work of the Most High, for who can make that straight which he has made crooked. I'm showing you what you were saying, because Esau, no matter how many times you try to make him do good, he can't.
So he had to be the wicked.
That's why in the kingdom, he's going to constantly be trying to rebel.
If you have a question, you can ask us.
Okay. So I've just paid $1,100 for used transmission in my car, and I had it for one day, and it went out on me again. Could y'all make it a list for if we're home, please?
That's the thing, like Esau.
That's the spirit that she has been. As we talked about, earlier in the week, the cost of living crisis. Right? Esau has the ability to fix these problems that's weighing down on people. You know?
That was everything's that was clear example. But as you showed you, and it's funny, the Edomites will answer Jake before they answer all people, because they know Jake is more supernatural, and they know Jake is more spiritual. They know their people aren't gonna help them.
Jake is sympathetic.
Yeah.
Our people will bend over backwards to help anybody. That's just in our spirit.
Yep.
You know, but they take advantage of that. This is how Esau was able to overtake our people.
Psalm chapter 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them?
Right. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. Pursuant to Micah. Can you get Micah 2:1? Because pretty much, them encouraging themselves in an evil matter is essential because they got the power to do these things.
Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Right. So while they sleeping at night, they're like, Dad, what can we do, to throw off the course of the world,
Yeah, but there's another precept that goes to how Esau can sleep as he do something with me. Yeah, somebody grab that too. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
You read that?
Yeah, Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Right, and essentially, pursuant to Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You see, so that's essentially the vibration that's going to be pushed out in the planet Earth. Right, and ultimately, Esau gets his rocks off by doing wickedness.
So Proverbs 4:16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall.
Right, and ultimately, the average person, after you have a hard day's work, you feel accomplished, you get some rest, you see, but Esau's not like that, he doesn't get a good night's rest, right, until he has plans for wickedness or, some type of mischief.
Yeah, just like in Jake's spirit, it's that conscience of, when you haven't done, things for the Lord, or you wrong somebody, you have that conscience and it makes you feel bad. It's like that for Esau if he don't fuck somebody over or go, do some type of ritual.
It's still some blood.
Yeah.
He's not fully fulfilled. And he knows he's on borrowed time, so he has to do everything he can to keep pushing this society. Like Alexander the Great. He conquered the world, under 12 years or something like that. It was sad about it. Because there was nothing else to do. That's the Edomite all day.
But see, you see that with the elite. That's a good example you brought that up. Because the elite, they said that when you have all the money in the world, you pretty much become bored. So next thing that they decided to do is that now they want souls. So this is why they went to the aspect of bringing this MOTV system in. They already have the whole world and have everybody under their thumb. So now the next thing that they want your spirit now. You know?
Satisfied. Yeah, man. That's why the scripture said that. Get that. Habakkuk 2nd chapter. Yep.
So Isaiah 57:20. But the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest,
Man.
whose waters cast up mire and dirt. There is no peace, saith my power to the wicked.
That nigga tossing to and fro in the bed.
Get comfortable. Jitters. He got them jitters. He can't. If he can't do weakness, he start tweaking, shaking and shit. He's like, shit, I ain't eat too many babies. Like, that's an Edomite, man. That's the Edomite. That's literally what they do, man. Rituals and shit. They're not doing that shit. They don't feel good, man. That's the Edomite. So like, hey, get your foreskins. But you seen that though. You seen that with Madonna. She said the same thing. Literally before she was born, she was like, I need that aid. You know what it is? It's the chrome. She said that. That's an everyday Edomite, man. Even though she was primarily a Jake, but that's a mindset of a elite Edomite. I ain't feeling right. I need that. I'm in here, man. She's a witch. That's an Edomite. Yeah.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Right, so you damn coons, all right, of our people. You got to understand that his spirit ain't right. There's no convincing him. There's no converting the Edomite. All right, there's no compelling him to be a righteous being. He was created to be wicked. Go ahead.
That's why the brother has read, let favor be shown to the wicked who do not learn righteousness. Like you said, this nigga has access to the resources. And he still is fucking on.
You got these Jakes that think they could befriend him and convert him.
We tried that already. We tried that. The tribe again tried that. That nigga came off the boat looking like a goddamn ghost. He was skinny as hell from scourging. You want me to check in? So Jake showed him how to live off the land, how to survive the winter. What happened? They turned on him, broke all the things they made with him, and was eating his dead body and killing him. All type of wicked shit that we go into all the time. We can't trust it, man. Even going into, post-slavery. Jake tried to, include Esau, and what happened? They always get fucked over there.
Yeah. And prime example, I remember some years ago, Elder Apostle Hart was cursing out the head of the GOCC. They had let some Edomites in the congregation, and the Edomites tried to take it over. They tried to take over the GOCC congregation. Elder Apostle Hart was cursing them out, man. Cursing with bubble-eyed blackfish. Yeah, he was cursing them out. Should have never brought them fucking Edomites in there, but that's just a prime example.
Hear me cap over there, the drumming song.
Yeah, they had the whole thing, fringes and everything, man. Yeah. This is like years ago. It's probably about like almost 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
I'm not surprised. I got that family guy picture with Peter in the garden.
Yeah.
But this is Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, take good heed and beware of him.
Watch him.
Thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. On what you just said. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat.
Yeah, lest he seek to take thy seat, man, to overthrow you.
Right. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked herewith. We saw in history. Prime example, that movie Killers of the Flower Moon. All right, how Esau was pretty much getting with them Gadite women, and they were just mysteriously dying, and he became the head of the family to take all their money. Took everything, man.
Showing that was background of Freemasons.
Right. So all that is showing you can't trust this devil, man. It's like Elder was saying, you cool, that's your ancestor trying to save Esau. You
You gonna die with Esau when it comes down to it, man. And he gonna kill you. What you think that you think you gonna be in the bunker with Esau? Y'all just be buddy? No, them niggas, that stomach start grumbling. Hey, pull out that delectable Negro book. We gonna go back to them times, man.
Exactly.
Nigga gonna be goddamn on that plate tied up like a pig with the apple in his mouth, man.
With a chip in his ass.
Hey, wait, they gonna eat it from the butt up like they do for real.
Straight up. Diabolical, man.
This is real. It's pictures. They leaked the pictures in the elite parties. They cooked the steak up, Christian style. You see that nigga steak tonight, he cooked the butt up.
It's real.
Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him,
Right.
but the just shall live by his faith.
Yeah, but the just shall live by his faith. It's all about the faith. All right, go ahead.
Yet also because he transgresseth by wine,
Yep, that wine going into those philosophies, man. All those ideologies and philosophies that are contrary to the scriptures, to the will of the Lord. Go ahead.
he is a proud man, neither keepeth at
You
home.
need to keep it at home, as we read in Psalms 37. That green bay tree. All right? He's everywhere. In everybody's business, affairs, right? He's the police of the world, so to speak.
He's bigger himself amongst all the nations.
Yep.
Like we were talking about that a while ago. All them top leaders of them nations, them more than likely are Amalekites. Yeah? That has got up in them family lines, like they always do, and put themselves, you always find Amalek in the top position.
Yep. Just like the head of Mexico.
Yep.
That woman, that's an Amalekite, man.
Yep.
You know, that got brought out some time ago. Go ahead.
He says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home,
He's everywhere. Go ahead.
who enlargeth his desire as hell,
Yep.
and is as death, and cannot be satisfied.
Everywhere he's at in the planet is some type of destruction. All right, kids are getting raped and put to death. All right, the land is getting polluted. You see what I'm saying? There's some type of corruption going on everywhere he's at.
Look at Gaza. Look at Ukraine. Like you said,
Look at Africa.
that place tried to fuck up. Esau was still not on this one.
You know?
And like you said, Amalekite over there, Amalekite over there, all them various places, Amalekite.
Europe, all that.
Europe, and Amalekite's the main one. Exactly. Right. Amalekite's the main one that's over there in Ukraine. It's them Ish people. That's they got this shit going on.
Exactly.
But you know what's heavy is the fact that when, like Quan mentioned, Africa, I can't remember what country it was that it was a year or two ago, they had found like a bunch of gold, I think it was.
It was
Africa, certain country.
I forget.
But it was like everybody knew. It was like, hey, y'all better hide that shit. You know they coming.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But it was like it's this play about it's like the world throws out this like boogeyman behind a closed curtain. But it's like, let's be direct and address who it is. It's these fucking Edomites. We know who it is that's causing the problems in the earth. It's the so-called white man. That's why when these resources get brought up, when the access to goods and services get brought up, and who can regulate the laws and legislation, everyone identifies they, but it's a blank. It's a statement. It's a blanket statement. But they know who it really is.
And it's the spirit, because since the prophets that came out on the scene, that blanket statement is now being narrowed down to a particular group of people. Because like Yaswama brings out, you can't just say it's the banking elite no more. No, it's the Edomites. It's a specific nation on the earth. We got the name, who it is, and we call it out every chance that we get. Because it's the Edomites, chiefly the house of Amalek, that's finding themselves in all these positions like the bro just said, man.
Yep. Got a little bit more here. Verse 5 in the latter, who enlarges his desire as hell and as his death.
Who enlarges his desire as hell and as his death. Go ahead.
And cannot be satisfied.
He can't be satisfied. Here it is. He's been blessed with the sword. The Lord gave him the door of heaven, gave him the resources, the land, the oil, all that. Even the people. He still can't be satisfied, man. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Not enough. You can't sleep at night.
Like I said, he wants your soul. They got, you hear niggas always say, Illuminati with my mind, soul, and body. That's true.
It's a greedy ass nigga, man. That's why the Lord gonna beat his ass.
But that shows you, like the scriptures say, man, this is the byproduct of what the flesh brings. The scriptures talk about how the eye is never satisfied. He's the epitome of carnality.
Exactly. Man, all day. Go ahead.
Verse 5 in the letter. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Yeah, going back to when he saw that pottage. He couldn't wait. He said, I'm at the point where I'm about to die. What does this birthright mean unto me?
No foresight.
Jake was like, shit, give it up.
Man, the fuck out of him.
You know?
He ain't even cooked it here.
Yeah, here you go. I'll take it.
Uncooked meat and lentils.
You know? Then he wanted to despise it after he realized what he did. You know? Then when he got supplanted, all right, when his mother had him put on the garment, the hairy garment, to trick his father, now he want to slay his brother Jacob.
Man, and it's crazy. That nigga never took accountability. Esau never took accountability. He never said, man, I wish I had the mindset to have appreciated the blessing. That nigga said, nah, I'm just gonna slay my brother.
But that's his spirit in general. Esau doesn't appreciate same shit.
Nothing sacred.
Nothing sacred to him, bro. As you see, all these burial grounds of Gadites that we have murdered, and what they do, they tear the burial ground down with all the bones in the ground, and build up fucking stores and buildings and all that shit over.
Right.
But they wonder why shit's haunted.
But it's still to this day, because Esau, if you look on the comic book, you'll still hear Esau. You go to Christian things breaking down Esau and Jacob, you'll still hear Esau on the comic book. Yeah, he's stolen the birthright. Niggas.
They had a lawful agreement.
Yeah. They shook on it. No account, still to this day, no accountability, man. Still trying to justify their forefathers.
He said, what is this birthright doing to me? Rough and paraphrase, you know?
Demon, man.
Go ahead.
You want me to jump down?
Yeah, whatever.
Verse 8, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Exactly. See, Esau always feared a retribution. That's why he goes around the earth killing everything, because he knows eventually that it's all gonna come back upon him. You know, that's why when they see any of the colored nations unified and all that, it puts fear in his heart, because they don't know what they planning.
Because they know they wrong every nation on the planet.
Exactly.
So Isaiah 14, and start verse 5. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the continuous stroke, it goes into what? The sanctions that he's put on these nations, the wars that he's caused, war crimes, all of that, man.
It's on the screen I was just reading.
There you go.
Because that's not just in America. They've done this shit everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why is Monsanto worldwide? Now certain countries have banned it and still. It's a McDonald's. Why is the McDonald's in Japan and China? Where you have the whole earth is supposed to be a blue zone. Where people are supposed to live long, prosperous lives. And this nigga is putting Taco Bell and Burger King and shit in these different countries. Now I was reading Dr. Barry's book. He was talking about Japanese, they used to live to be in their hundreds. Now, it's only in certain blue zones over in Japan, and everybody else over there fat, they can't even walk up the steps and everything now. You get old, your body's not supposed to break down when you get in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. You get here, you got niggas with walkers and can't.
Yeah. Back all hunched over.
And shit. Foot all swollen.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You see these so-called foreigners over here, like prime example, like the Elamite, right? The Indians, right? Them niggas be fat as hell now.
The reason why it's like that because
Sandals.
the reason why it's like that is because, like you said, Elam, they use like a lot of sea oils and stuff like that in their culture. So when they come over here, they still think that they're able to eat like that, but the stuff over here is corrupt.
Yeah.
That's what makes they blow up like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Big women be big as shit.
Big as hell. Like when I was young, when you saw them foreigners, man, they were skinny and everything. The Japanese, the Indians,
Even the northern tribe when they was coming over here, they was small, man. They was like, you'll see Venezuelans, so they was all skinny, man. Now everybody got
The
them.
food, bro, you get addicted. Like that video, they was giving him a Sprite, how they was bugging out, and they take the Sprite
Like a crackhead,
bro.
bro.
Doritos. There was a comedian I was watching. He was talking about you watch watch videos of foreigners trying Doritos for the first time. That shit like crack.
Damn. Yeah, they gave them porn and everything.
That's why Brazil is suing them for the porn. Because the men are over there beating off and all types of shit.
They weaponize porn.
Yeah,
You know?
they suing them for that shit.
That was a World War I tactic, man.
Because it weaks
It weakens the mind. When you constantly letting off like that, it kills your drive to want to, fight.
Yeah, that's why you got OnlyFans, that's why you got Tinder, that's why you got social media, and look at the men of the society today.
And who's running? Amazon.
Exactly.
Every avenue.
They got it all covered, like the brother say. Every corner is covered.
That's what you want to man.
That's a lot.
Isaiah 14:6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindered. So like the brother said, man, right? This devil has brought pain and suffering to the entire earth, man. Right? Where like the brother said, it should be all blue zones, right? It's all red zones now, man. Right? Everything is causing death to these people, and whether they realize it or not. Right? You're supposed to live a lot longer, right, than you currently are, but because of the state of society, through the philosophy that these Edomites push, everybody's dying at earlier ages, man. It's like 72 or 70, like 70 something is the expected life.
Yeah, scripture says he lived about 70, 4 years. But that shows you, because you come over here, niggas are smoking cigarettes. Say you eating all type of bullshit, it's destructive life over here, man.
Yeah, we're not gonna see the ages as our great grandparents and our grandparents' age. If we stay here, we ain't got that long, man. You know.
It's Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 6, NLT. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny.
Yeah, that's why in Obadiah it talks about how it says how they sit in a basket. Matter of fact, give me that first verse. Let us prepare against her for battle.
Assalamu alaikum.
You know?
No, you're not, this one. Oh, my fault.
No, you good. You good, man. Go ahead.
Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 1, it says, the vision of Ibadiah Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador sent among the heathen.
That's right.
Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle.
Yeah, see? So these nations are coming together and they're rising against her. Who's the her? Babylon, Edom. All right, all of these names are synonymous with Esau. Mount Seir, Babylon, Assyria. All right, who else? Idumea, right? That's all Egypt. It's all synonymous to Esau, man. Okay, that's the ruling power on the earth today, right now, which he would be the end of the world as well.
Even you can tie Gog and Magog, because who's ruling that? Esau,
Yep.
The Russians.
Yep.
The originally happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yep, the Russians are Edomites. Ukraine, them are Edomites too.
Australia,
Yep.
Edomite. Esau goes over to these different countries, murders and pushes out the natural inhabitants, and then takes over the identity of that land.
Yep, Psalms 49:11.
Yeah,
They name lands after their own names.
that's right.
Now this is Bonsarah 13 and 3. The rich man hath done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wrong, he must entreat also.
Yeah, poor man is wrong, because here it is. The king, when you realize the purpose of what you're putting in for, the people are supposed to serve you. So your kingdom thrives off of your servants. And yet, this devil goddamn kills his servants, man. Keep the kingdom running.
Verse 4, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee.
There you go. So once you have no more use of Esau, you discard you.
Yep.
You know, that's how it works.
That's why you jakes that sell out are fucking retarded. Because he'll use you for his agenda, and then once you are no longer of use, or you outuse you outlive the usefulness, he moves on to the next. Yeah. Why do you think these athletes are coming out more and more with depression? Because like you got like guys like Derrick Rose, for example. Derrick Rose making NBA millions of dollars. The moment he went down with that injury, they just threw him to the curb, man.
He brought it back.
Exactly.
He brought Chicago to construction. Chicago is top 4 highest grossing cities in the NBA. Boston, I think it's Boston, LA, California, and Chicago. You know, so with that, they brought them back after Michael Jordan's departure into relevance. As soon as he got hurt, they done him wrong, man. Isaiah Thomas for Boston, they use you until it's no longer used. They get rid of
He
you.
was clear as hell.
Yeah, nigga fucked his career up playing through injury, and then as soon as they found something better they could use for him, they got rid of that nigga.
Look at the entertainers. Look what they did with Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince. All right, all them top jakes, man. Bill Cosby, all of them, man.
You know, we're gonna fall on you.
Yeah, I think we read it already.
Go ahead.
Just laying back up
Yeah,
the same point.
Joel wanna say.
Sirach, or Ecclesiastes 13, and I'll start at verse 4. It reads, "If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it."
If I can answer that, because this is why he brought the people to the brink of extinction. All right, to where you got him literally getting ready to make all the people disposable because of AI now.
Yeah.
You know, that's why Noah Yuval Harari said pretty much, you know, people are dispensable now, man. You know, they're going to become useless eaters by the time we really get this AI rolling. Man. You know, so when you really think about it, that's stupid because you need people to run your society. Real quick to prove that point. This is Proverbs chapter 14 and 28. I'm going to read it in the NLT. It said that growing population is a king's glory. A prince without subjects has nothing. So a true glory of a king is slave, or we say servant. Right?
Yeah.
All right. And so this shows you how Esau's an unfit ruler because he's destroying the very thing that's going to make his kingdom straight or great, you know. So he doesn't understand the byproduct of what he's doing. How detrimental that is. Right.
King is a child.
Yeah. You're destroying the earth, and you're destroying the very people that run the earth. Or sorry, that keep the earth running.
This man is unstable, man. And the Lord got to get him out the way.
Joel,
Joel 13,
1 and 7.
1 and 17.
You got a madman ruling the earth.
Joel chapter 1 verse 17. The seed is rotten under their clods. The garners are laid desolate. The barns are broken down, for the corn is withered.
Right. And he destroyed the crops of the earth. See, why the fuck do we got terminated?
Right.
Why is Monsanto a thriving business? All right. Why are you having monocrop fields that only produce one type of agriculture, man? That's unhealthy for the land. All right. When you do that, you're supposed to plant multiple different vegetables and fruits because that helps keep the land diverse. But if you're doing just one food source for a whole field, that's detrimental to that land.
Yeah. Because like you said, when you plant those different crops, it helps regenerate the soil.
Exactly.
That's agriculture.
And
What's
then-
it called? Crop rotation.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he's not honoring the land Sabbath. So every 7 years, he's supposed to let that land, you burn whatever is there, and you move to a different land to get that land time to replenish its nutrients. This is why you see everything pretty much lacking the nutrients because the land is barren.
Corn be all extra small and shit.
Well, the corn is fake.
But you know what I'm saying? Like all your vegetables and stuff, that's not in there right. They growing in the wrong season.
Right.
Like you doing all this shit. It's
Yeah. Like the car I'm talking about in the car. Why the fuck is there watermelon in December? You know, if you understand how nature works, nature brings certain fruits and vegetables for seasons. Like the colder months, you're supposed to eat more filling and warmer foods to keep you from freezing. When you're in the summertime, you're supposed to eat more hydrated fruits like watermelon and cucumbers, the melons like that, to keep your body. So your body naturally navigates towards the foods that grow in seasons.
Connected to the earth.
Yes, every season your body changes, and so we're not taught this, but you're supposed to change every season. You notice your spirit, it changes, just like the earth, man. Everything, like you said, is tied together, man. You can't operate the same you do in wintertime and summertime.
He corrupted all of this. That's why I say, how come nobody talks about this stuff? Then you want to have a video, and you have these Christians pop up with a video of who's Esau Edom. You know, who's responsible for this shit? That's what the scripture says in Job 9:24. Matter of fact, give me that real quick. Right?
The Bible puts a face to all
Because it's like, yo, it's like these things are being addressed, but we're the only ones speaking on it.
Right.
But all of a sudden, nobody knows who the Edomites is. Or when he's pointed out, oh, it's hate. I don't get that, man. You know, that's why you Jakes, that's in the spirit, and the Lord will put you to death.
But you see how hypocritical that is. If you watch these crime shows, Esau had a fucking wall with all the people, and then they all connected to the main guy.
Yeah.
Well, the Lord has done that with you.
Exactly. 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 You got it, brother.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
That's right.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Go ahead.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Uh-huh.
If not, where and who is he?
So if this man is not the wicked, then who is he? Where is he at? All right. Who's doing this to the planet? Who's killing the people? Who's pushing all these wars? Right. So that's the thing, man, and that's why, like you said earlier, the culprit has to be addressed, which is the biblical Edomite. Right.
The time of making blanketed statements
Yeah.
is done with, bro. It's a face and a name
That's it.
behind that, and the Bible calls that person out directly.
Yeah.
And our job as being the prophets is not to tiptoe around it.
Yeah.
We go right at it and show you who it is. Man.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, that the righteous are going blind because Lord, when the world be elect, we are the very creators that was with Yahweh back then that made all this. And it shows that because we don't want to give a fuck about this stuff being fucked up. You know, you go back there to Joel, so we can do a little bit more. Nobody else talk about that. Like you said, you Christians, you got all this shit to talk about the Israelites. You want to talk about the problems that's going on
That's
in the
what I'm
world.
saying. Who's destroying the planet, man? We're not responsible for that.
These Christians don't have a biblical worldview. That's the issue.
But even outside of the biblical worldview, they have a skewed version of a view of reality. Because you ask them what's wrong with the world, they'll give you all these tiptoed answers instead of going right at the problem.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Exactly.
Well, I think that the problem with the earth is just
Yeah, well, why is corn one of the major selling industries in America? And why are you introducing this shit to children? What the fuck do kindergartners and preschoolers have to learn about gay and anal sex? You know?
Yeah.
It's questions like that they don't want to answer.
Occultism, I did the lesson on it.
Right.
Occultism it generates $2.5 billion a year. And that's witchcraft, sorcery, magic, tarot cards, astrology, praying to your ancestors and shit. Right?
They sell Ouija boards in Walmart in the board game section, bro. I remember when I used to work at Target, I saw that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So you got niggas dabbling with the dark arts in the kids section.
Come on, man.
This is witchcraft. Then you get the wrong board, being that goddamn.
And you wonder why all these fucking people are bugged out, man. People are possessed. People are walking around with demons and spells on them, man. Right?
They think they're not, but they really are.
You get taught how to do shit like that early. I never did it, but games like doing Bloody Mary in the back, that's conjuring up demons, man. You know, those are demons that you're. You said that word when you were going into that video. It's called scrying.
Yeah.
You know, you talking to a dark screen, conjuring up demons. Just like this phone. You're doing that with this phone. Anything that's the black screen, TV, laptop, tablet, all this shit. You can if you use that in that way. That's how you conjure these spirits out, man. Even watching shit like that bring out demons, man.
All them scary movies.
Say you watch them old ass, or you go to sleep and you wake up to them demonic ass previews for that shit. Yeah, that's what they tell you. Don't go to sleep with the TV on. That shit be putting spirits in the house, man.
Man, that's why I ain't got that shit in my bed no more. I took that shit the fuck out. We shouldn't have quietness. Joel chapter 2 and verse 18. How do the beasts groan? The herds of cattle are perplexed because they have no pasture. Yeah, the flocks of sheep are made desolate.
Yeah. The animals are oppressed, man. The fact that we have zoos and aquariums, that's high grocery businesses, all that is a certified prison for animals, man.
Yeah.
That's
Running around depressed and shit.
Yeah, I saw an elephant at the zoo some years back when I went, man. That damn elephant was malnutrition, man, malnourished.
Bones and
Yeah,
shit.
it
showing.
didn't even have, like, you know, normally you see an elephant that has that nice gray coating. This nigga was like burgundy red. And like, he didn't even look right, man. Yeah, you can see his ribs and shit. I'm like, damn.
That's like when you go to the SeaWorld and shit, you see that orca when his dorsal fin is laying sideways, that's the sign of depression. And people going there cheering and shit, he's jumping up doing all the flips, bro. He's depressed. That's like that scene when you watch Space Jam, and you see Michael Jordan chained up on that planet, sitting on the planet. That's the equivalent of what the orca's doing in the tanks, man.
damn slippery.
Yep. It's Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bears rule, the people mourn.
Right, and the whole earth, beyond the people, is in that state of mourning, man. It's like the brother was just reading. You go to these farms, slaughterhouses and shit. You eating what you think is pasteurized, grass-fed, not pasteurized, wild range and grass-fed meat.
Yeah, free range.
Free range. Them niggas is in a 3x4 cage just sitting there from a calf or whatever baby you call him till he's old enough to be slaughtered. And that's why that meat tastes funny when you eat that shit, because you're ingesting all the toxins, stress, all that shit. And you take in what you eat. That's why we feeling like that, man. When you eat that shit, man.
He something like done some weird shit.
Yeah, he popping the animals and
Popping it and shit. They had ranches over there, what, in Europe, popping the animals. Popping them and then cutting them and putting them on sale.
They eat grapes for weeks.
Yeah, like, this shit gotta go, man. This shit is fucking. This is steroids, bro.
Yeah, steroids, yeah. Big ass chicken legs and shit, man.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Them chicken legs look like baseball bats.
Yo,
That shit be crazy.
I remember one time I went to Atlanta. I forgot the name of the spot. But that chicken tender was no lie like this big. I ate that shit and I realized when I was eating, I got sick, bro.
You can see this shit and you can tell it's fucked up. Because as you eating the chicken, you can look at the shit inside. You like, this ain't no goddamn
No, the chicken is supposed to be like, you're supposed to
For
grind
real.
in the
I
meat, bro.
done the same thing. I done bit it and I look and I be like, man, I can't eat. Because you'll look at the little thing, you be like, this ain't even real chicken, man. Can't even finish that shit. Nah, bro, I got sick.
Joel chapter 2 and verse 19. O Yahweh, to thee will I cry, for the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and the flame hath burned all the trees of the field.
That's going to be the future. When that
Yeah, I
destruction
guess
happens, it's going to wipe clean all the shit that's wrong. That's why the Lord, when he does that, he got to kill the animals.
Yeah, everything.
He got to wipe out the vegetation because this shit is all out of whack. Certain crops and animals aren't even supposed to be over here in America.
Everything's polluted.
Like certain horse types, pigs, different animals, they're not supposed to be over here in America. They're not native to this land, man.
Nigga got polar bears and shit over here, man.
Right.
Fuck,
Right.
man. Polar bear in Texas and shit. Hot as hell.
Hot as part of America.
Yeah, hot as hell. You got a polar bear out there. His damn coat hanging off on him, skinny and shit.
Yeah, because you see polar bears are actually black under their fur. So you see that, when you see that grayish black, that shows you that they're not healthy.
You don't know. Ain't nobody helping over here in Babylon. Everything.
Just feeding them goddamn freedom and shit.
Yeah, that's Romans the 8th chapter. All the creation groaneth all together until now.
Why you think that you see these shows where these animals be attacking Edomites? That's all you see it really. I've never seen a Jake movie show.
Nah, you really think, I'm telling you, see Jake running from a dog, bro. When Esau was a bunch of hit bull that day, you see that one dog was gone. Esau getting bit by that dog.
Esau getting attacked by like chickens. All things hate Esau, man.
Bring it up, man. This is 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 9, reading in the NLT. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires.
That's America, man. All these different desires that he's pushing out in different avenues to entrap you in that system, man. That's why Jake is fully for America. Jake is fully submitted to the ways of this system, man. That's why Jake don't want to come back to the ways of this.
Right. That's why the scriptures say what? The gift destroys the heart. Because Jake has that mindset where it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Oh, I'm gonna get the bag. Yo, taste the bag. Nigga, listen to little baby so much they fucking think that they little baby.
Grown niggas. nigga in his 60s, popping little baby, wearing the tight jeans and shit.
Big ass forces, man.
Still that damn hustle and bustle culture, man. You know, but it's that pursuit of money that it draws them away from who they really are. The Lord's prayer tells us to give us our daily bread. What's sufficient for us. That pursuit of money will drown your ass out.
That's if you have a covetous spirit as your oppressor. That's the spirit that Esau has, man. He got the Bentley, now I want the Bentley. He got the big house, I want the big house. That's being a covetous. That's the mindset of an Edomite, man. That's Esau to a T, man. He got to have what you got.
In the law, it tells you not to covet thy
Neighbor.
Yeah, I forgot that now. That's one of the 10 Commandments.
Verse 9 in the latter, it says, and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction.
Is that not the black culture to the T? And it's all, who's the main one promoting it to our people, the Edomites, man. These people on this sign, man. They got Jacob at this spirit right here. These people, man, as a brother always said, they're the ones that head of the Tri-Lighter committee, all these various things to get Jacob to work this, to buy into this system. That's these people, man. The latest trend. Yeah. The latest trend.
Even the direction the music goes, that's all them.
Yeah, and it's targeted to who? Israelites.
Yeah, because people forget that, you know, the CIA has a hand in Hollywood.
Yep.
When it comes to the movies, television shows, video games, media, all of that.
Walt Disney. Yeah. Walt Disney worked hand in hand with the CIA. He was part of the CIA. You can look that up. He was part of the CIA, man. Hell, the so-called moon landing was used at the damn Walt Disney shit in California for that scripted damn bullshit you people believe in, man. One step forward. Yeah, Van Bull got the Van Bull.
It's so fucked up that they don't even realize that that was even Lance Stevens. Lance Armstrong. Nigga name I think was Bill Altman.
And they were some criminals. Look, when you look into
it's like I said, Lance. Yeah, Neil Armstrong. Yeah.
When you look into the history that them so-called dudes that went up to the so-called moon, there were some criminals back in Europe that can't come over here. So y'all be praising it to this day. When you look at the history of them three niggas, they really were some criminals they brought over here and done that bullshit.
All on the green screen.
Yeah, all on the green screen.
Yeah, because there was an Edomite had interviewed, what's his name, Neil Armstrong, and he caught him somewhere in a hotel lobby. He hit him with the ambush journalism, and he asked about the moon landing, and he took off running.
And like I said, that wasn't even him. Like I said, the dude, I believe his name was Bill Altman. It's Bill something. You can look him up, man.
But he kept, and the thing so crazy as back in the other, now he to the point where he keep telling motherfuckers, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. He telling motherfuckers right here, they're like, such a movie like it didn't happen. And they be just like, damn, he telling y'all that shit was fake. It goes right over their head, bro.
They don't want to believe it. They'd rather believe a lie.
You have more on that royalty?
Yes. Verse 10. In the NLT it says, 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Right. And that's the thing. Money itself is not evil. Like the Christians would say, it's the love of money. The pursuit that makes you want the money. Like you get a lot, we're talking about how men are sold where they bound. So they sold for the money. It's the love of it, because this society teaches you that it's all about the pursuit of the bags.
Yeah.
Money is our life, because it's talismans on that money, man.
Yeah. Money is, and the scripture say money is a defense.
It's an enchantment.
Yeah.
But the biggest defense is wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. It says money is a defense. Money is a defense, but wisdom is like give up life. Yeah. So
because if you notice, when you just look at it in the grand scheme of things, King Solomon was praying to the Lord. The first thing he asked the Lord for was wisdom. And the byproduct of him getting wisdom came to riches. You need the wisdom first, because people say riches aren't coming to a nigga.
Yep.
That's why Esau will give a nigga out the hood $1 million contract and watch him destroy himself.
Because they know Jake don't know what to do with that type of money. And they know they're going to give it right back to him.
Sirach 10 and verse 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such an one selleth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth away his vow.
Right. So a nigga will literally sell his soul for some FRN, man. Like the brother was reading, all right, for the love of money, is the sorry for the read that again, Bible Sean.
Verse Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 in the NLT. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Yeah, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Because we're at a point in time to where a nigga would do anything for a bag. And it ain't even gotta be much. It could be just as we see, like that movie Queen and Slim. Nigga did all that for that little bit of money. The nigga that sold out guy from the Black Panthers, Fred Hampton, they got $20 in cash for it. If it was $20, I can't remember, but it was cheap.
It was a couple.
You know, but it was cheap.
Yeah.
That nigga burned through that shit in less than a year, more like it.
We looked up Judas Iscariot, how much those shekels was worth.
Yeah, when he was down.
Like,
Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing, bro. And we're at the point where niggas can do that shit for less.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nigga get give a nigga 8 weeks free rent.
Fucking Jordans.
Oh, yeah.
That's my. I got percent for that.
Look more. He says, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. But I just wanted to add that because brothers was talking about how, you know, we have identified the wicked in the earth. He has been made very clear who he is. But when you talk to these people that have been, you know, led astray with the cares of this world, that have pretty much been blinded by the God of this world, as the scriptures speak of, they will disassociate from even being realistic about the fact that there is substantial evidence that shows that the house of Edom is governing the earth today. And wickedness. They don't care because their whole mindset is like, look, I'm just about mine.
That shows you that even with that psyop they go on with Elon Trump. They show you that right there. They don't give a damn. They telling you the president is in the foul, which he was. He's been saying it for years. But it just show you the mindset of the people. People don't give a fuck. They don't care. It's because this whole earth is in gross darkness, man. So all the people worrying is about themselves.
There it is. Elon Musk dropped that quote-unquote super bomb. And niggas is more concerned about Diddy. Halle Berry, whatever the name is. Haley Berry and PG and all this other. Remy Ma, Papoose.
Yeah, all that bullshit.
Everything, all that shit. Half the relationship.
No, they set up. It's all small careers, man. It's not really fucking psyop.
As long as you ain't talking about Esau. That's the main thing.
AI.
Yeah. As long as you ain't talking about the tensions of World War III,
prophecies,
the rise of the MOTP system, the fall of the economy. As long as you don't have them in your mouth and get distracted with folly, you're good.
and you're not repentant to Yahweh.
That's what it is. That's first and foremost, man. As long as you ain't repenting, niggas stay worry about Cardi B and goddamn Diggs and shit, man. Worry about him dancing with, worry about folly, man.
What was that pink substance in that game?
Yeah, because as the scriptures say, folly is setting great ignorance with the rich sitting in low places.
Why Shador Sanders ain't starting.
Right.
Yeah, still
Now your sister's full of that.
They had an article that came out that said that people who obsess over celebrity lives have a low IQ.
That's America. Because the majority of people in America have a low IQ. They be like, I'm smart in college. You worry about celebrities, majority of your okay.
What? The fact that TMZ is a $1 million industry lets you know that.
Yeah.
They push gossip out there, and that's more important than the news.
And I remember when that shit came out, bro. TMZ, because it used to be on WBA-TV, the little local channel, and then they start pushing it out with athletes and certain scandals. Next thing you know, like you said, that's $1 billion damn company, man. Not $1 billion, but $1 million franchise. That's a franchise. As soon as the first thing niggas be waiting on, TMZ got it. Such and such got shot in the foot. TMZ got it. They look like, damn. That's showing, like the brother said, that's America. Gossip, all that entertainment bullshit. That's how you know you're in Rome all over again, bread and circus, man.
The scriptures talk about that, and that's one of the ways that destroy you. The scriptures talk about be not a busybody.
Yeah.
Somebody find it.
But that's now you got grown men gossip more than women. That's the state of America. You got grown ass men in their damn their 40s gossip about little bullshit, man. You see what's in that? That's busybody shit. You see Diddy Collins. That's fucking. You think our grandfathers and shit was doing that shit back in the day? Hell no.
They didn't give a damn about no shit like that. You go to your pop-up, they smack your ass
Like
like
Paul said in the group message, bro, there's no reason why we should know some of these niggas' names, bro.
It's a definition of parasocial. It reads, parasocial relationship is a one-sided relationship, typically with a public figure like a celebrity or a fictional character, where an individual feels a sense of intimacy and closeness even though the relationship is not reciprocal.
Perfect example. You got all these women ready to cut niggas off because of Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Halle Berry, and all these other dumbass niggas, man. They hate niggas that side with the niggas.
I got another example. Niggas that kill you over LeBron, Michael Jordan.
Yes, that's happened.
That's what I said. It'll be a barbershop talk, and they feel like they know Jordan, like they sat right beside him or some shit and was tying his shoes.
That's because
that's why, on my daddy's third side. Like they will kill you over a dumbass debate like that, but that's a clear definition of that shit right there, man.
It says it's a perceived connection that stems from media consumption, like watching TV or following social media.
The media, it's not that media goes back to witchcraft, stupefied people.
It says without any real life interaction.
we shouldn't know these things, but see, things like social media have kind of boomed, and this has essentially dumbed the people down.
All right, so 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 15. Let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters.
That's the characteristic of black culture. Thief, murderer, busybody. That's the characteristics of a YN, a nigga, a goddamn diva, bad bitch, right? That's the characteristics of them, man. You got Eve out here shooting damn women at the park, just arguing over fucking kids and shit.
That was Quran 3. That's still good. That's trying.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place.
Folly is set in great dignity. Folly is exalted in society. Anything that's stupid, anything that dumbs down the people, that keeps you distracted, that's the main focus, right? And like you said, going back to Rome, bread and circus, man. Right? People can't have enough of that shit, man.
Yeah.
You know?
But this is the same thing that was going on then, where you had chefs and people of not importance put up like God. That's how we know this is wrong all over again.
Yeah, because when you watch TV, what they say, the new drama series and some shit like that, and you be like, ooh, man, he popped her, and you be like, oh, I might have to watch that shit because it's the drama.
The Bachelor.
Yeah, stupid ass shit. What was it?
Flavor of Love.
No, reality TV.
Yeah.
That dumb shit.
Remember the shit with R. Kelly?
Yeah, the closet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a little series.
And everybody was into that shit.
Yeah,
Man, what's gonna happen?
That shit was
What's
like
gonna happen?
15 something.
Yeah. But that's what they pushing in some this system, man. That
Everybody was
drama
into
and
that
shit, man.
You know? But that's the folly.
Yeah.
3
This is Sirach 3 and 23. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are shewed unto thee than men understand.
Right, this is why at the end of the day, we're not supposed to know all this shit that's going on with these people. Here it is, you got, like you said, people invested in these celebrities' lives more than stuff that they didn't know about. Right. A motherfucker can tell you Cardi B's whole life story, but don't know shit about what's going on overseas. Right. Don't know what's going on with AI overseas. They can tell you how her Offset step out there, little love triangle on, man.
All into that shit. Because social media, man. Social media. That shit, guys, I hate social media. I don't see the niggas seeing Cardi B now.
That bitch is a fucking hoe, man.
BBL, all these bitches.
Safe,
all these women are doctored up anyway, man. BBLs,
Ain't
all
nobody
types of
real,
shit.
man. Ain't nobody real, man.
You know? Weird, this shit's a weird ass society.
See them pictures like them going back in the 90s. It's like,
Yeah. Where are we? We ain't gonna never get that again.
where are we, bro?
I ain't even gonna lie. When I was seeing on social media, you seen the women in the 90s, they were so feminine and loud. They were fine. Fine as hell. That shit, now you look at these, you be like, what the hell is that? Like, I wouldn't know what even wearing makeup and shit like that.
You didn't look at them lustful. You looked at them like, damn.
Your wife,
that.
Yeah. And you didn't come approaching no nigga shit like, hey, you trying to figure out a way to to talk to that.
You approach these bitches now, horny in hell, trying to fuck that night. No, back then, you want to wild it down the motherfucker.
Yeah, that's why R&B was taught.
The certain kind,
Not that big. You see what happened to John? You see what happened to John Hughes? Right there, putting that woman first. Got you.
Unless you see something else in there.
Back in the book of Psalm, chapter 64. Psalm 60, chapter 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them?
Right? Esau feel as if the Lord isn't watching, but the scripture says, the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun.
And that represents angels. Because the angels are seeing everything that's happening here in America.
Yeah, the angels are the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah, they said the eyes of the Lord upon the civil kingdom. I was at Psalm Amos 9.
Isaiah 29 and 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us?
Right, and that's the spirit of Esau. Again, when they go into these different meetings and stuff like that, they feel as if the Lord isn't watching. But the Lord has 24-hour surveillance, constantly surveilling.
Right.
That's one city I will say is very similar.
Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Isaiah 29 and 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding?
Right, so being that Esau Edom had thrown the earth out of course, essentially,
Isaiah 29 and 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding?
And pretty much, the Lord essentially made the earth in balance. So being that Esau Edom has essentially thrown everything out of balance, the Lord is judging them,
Daniel 7:25, 8:25, he changed time.
Back in Psalm chapter 64, verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
Yeah, this man, he has literally studied the scriptures, and literally every precept the Lord has, he found a way to pretty much make it profane and make everything vibrate opposite.
Upside down.
Yeah,
Right here in my Bible, right, it says, for they accomplish a diligent search, it says, we are consumed by that which they have thoroughly searched. So this devil, it's not like he was just winging it. No, he was set on, all right, I understand the habits of my enemies. Let me look after this. Let me look into their laws. Let me look into how they operated in the past kingdom. That's why this Babylon the Great is referenced in the scriptures as the mother of harlots and abominations.
Yeah.
This devil has done a diligent search into finding out every weak point that the Israelites have experienced.
Even just in general, because they researched how the earth works, and they figured out, all right, well, we can do this, and this could end up, hurting the people to where we can monetize off this shit. Everything that he done, he did a search to make it a weapon.
Verse 6 in the latter. But both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
Right, that word for deep, it goes into unsearchable. This devil's very mysterious and strange, and ultimately, he has done that research,
Verse 7. But Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall shoot at them with an arrow.
You run it back.
Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
Right. It says thou art wiser than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from. It's pretty much like Chris is going into. Esau has set up different campaigns, archaeology, there's different science sections, and pretty much he pays people to do research, whether it be Egypt, Rome, and he takes these the studies from these different places and essentially he applies it to American Babylon the Great.
Yeah, that's why Babylon known as the land of confusion. All those idols that had our people ensnared are exercised here today, but they go under new names. But it's the same idols and demons from the past, right?
I gave an example of that.
Yeah, like you got the what's it called, the obsolete oaks. You know, you got the those Roman cathedrals. You have you know, all the architect. You know, going back to Greece and Rome, the idols, the gods like Serapis. All right, the main stronghold that's on the minds of our people to this day. All right, that Jesus Christ demon, man. Right?
That shit is crazy. To
That
this
shit is,
day.
I'm tired of that shit.
I was speaking with the brother Bayana on the way up here. I'm like, yo, it's crazy how you can have all this information and niggas still like,
Don't care.
So we go into constantly that subversion. People have been subverted to the point to where truth they don't care about it. And it's due to what we went to earlier about the mindset of the people and what they're concerned about now.
Seen that nigga the other day on this. Jesus Christ, I
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
man.
He's still around.
Yeah, he got a little interview. I was like, man, fuck, I kept running, man, hell no.
Hey, he didn't know more. He ran to a
Yeah, he
brother.
ran into the brother, yeah. He started, he wanted to do this.
He knew he was an Israelite when he said that. You know, he said, I know.
Zeus. Hey, Zeus.
Yeah, because they was speaking about how you said the gods are repackaged. So I just wanted to go into some names just real quick to prove that point. So everything started back with Babylon. You got the real big three. Nimrod, Ishtar, and Tammuz. If you go into Egypt, you have Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The Medo-Persian Empire, you got Bel, Inanna, and Mithra. Greece, Zeus, Semiramis, and Bacchus. Rome, Baal, Diana, and Serapis. Renaissance era, you have Jehovah, Virgin Mary, Isis, Jesus, Dave, Nolan, Melville, and showing you they have different names of the idols. There's more.
Same idols, same false gods, but new names.
Yeah, like Tammuz, another name that's not mentioned on here. Bacchus and Dionysus are interchangeable. But you go back to Tammuz.
that's all what that name represents.
Yep.
Tammuz, they can sit there doing that shit. That's an idol.
Psalm chapter 64 and verse 7. For Yahweh Shemel Shai shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. Speaking of the nukes.
God, right.
Job chapter 20. Job 20 and 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out, his dull terrors are upon them.
Right, so essentially, you know, every hegemony, every area that we saw in the
can't do that.
was going to be
Right,
destroyed
but
by the
when
nukes.
you have
Alright, and those Edomites was not destroyed by the nukes, they could be rounded up, you know, as first fruits of slavery.
Verse 8. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
Right, essentially, you know, those that was once inside, like insiders, and then coming out, you know, spilling the beans, or essentially the plans of the elites. Alright, that essentially goes into an aspect of, you know, exposure. You know,
That's your so-called truthers. Those that was part of the culture, agendas and things like that, part of the brotherhood, what you see they're doing now. They're basically exposing it, but it's still control opposition. It's like who was it? Alec Jones, what is it? Bill Hicks.
Yeah, he's a double agent.
Double agent, all that shit. Jeremiah 49 and verse 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places. Jeremiah 49 and 10. Spirit had it about Esau too. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not.
Right, because at one point, Esau was able, to hide behind deception. It's going to say, he got a right hand of falsehood. So he was able to hide behind the lies. But now this truth is going across the four corners of the globe, and he thinks that was being exposed.
Psalm chapter 64, verse 9. All men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High. And they shall wisely consider of his doing.
Right, and going back to, we had mentioned earlier in the lesson, pretty much, everyone is going to know that the Lord, essentially did the works he did in the earth, according to the second Exodus,
People are taking heed to the truth now. Brothers, that are more seasoned in the faith give their accounts of how things have progressed over time with scoffers, and mockers. At one point, coming against the belief wholeheartedly, but then seeing the prophecies come to pass, it's like, what the fuck can you say? Right, as the scriptures say, I will give you a mouth that your adversaries will not be able to gainsay nor resist. So us being that mouthpiece of the Lord, we are magnifying his word and his will and truth. And it's been accomplished in the earth right now. People are taking heed and they're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next?
They're becoming mad at you.
Yeah.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 14. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea.
Right, so this living water is spread throughout the earth. This word is going forth. All right, and then ultimately, pursuant to Psalms 9 and 16, the Lord is known by his judgments. That's why it says, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Lord, of the Most High, and they shall wisely consider of his doing. And that's because the Lord is bringing out judgment and his word is going out.
Psalm chapter 64, verse 10. The righteous shall be glad in Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, and shall trust in him. And all the upright in heart shall glory.
Right, and it says, and all the upright in heart, the top says, the righteous shall be glad in the Lord, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. And essentially, the elect is going to be praising the Lord, because we're seeing a downfall of our enemies.
Proverbs 29 and verse 15. It reads, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
You can apply that to a master. Who is the master or mother? If the master decided they wanted to separate themselves, look at the same as life.
Wait, where's
English speaking myself there, they look down on the master. Even from the way they talk, they said English they talk over here, but over there it's like hillbilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true because I remember when I went over there to London years ago, we was talking to some chicks and they was mocking us because how we talk. Yeah.
Proverbs 29 and 16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall.
Right, so when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases. Pursuant to Malachi 1 and 4. All right, we also got, Psalms 37. The wicked spread themselves like a green bay tree. You see, so all of these things is going to be held, as charges against Esau, even the so-called white man. So it said that we're going to witness their fall. So essentially, the Lord is requiring that which is past, and we're seeing that by way of the judgments that is going out throughout the earth.
Right.
I don't want to Zaza by night Apollos, but that was a beautiful edification of the spirit. Well, I don't want to Zab. I thought Yashka Wam Tawab was will you are today while we were closing up by saying call
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Hashem Chakadash.
While double honestly husband apostles break us on their tongues truth and real well. Much respect to you those that are pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity from Wam from Wam.
Wow.
Man, that shit's like, bro, what's this sewage? Yeah, we